Here are the 5 things I've learned from the last 5 years of working on cars and being involved in the car community. And stay to the end for the 5th one because it's the main reason why I am exiting the community and getting out of this. Throughout this video, I'm going to be talking about my experiences and my experiences only. This is not to say that it goes for everyone, but this is just what I have to say and what I have learned. Ever since I've been a kid, I've been very passionate about cars, and probably around the age of 14 is when I started to fall in love with the E30s. And so I've had 3 E30s since then. I've had one of them of which I still have today, and I've put a forged M50 B28 in, like a low compression build that we were setting up to turbo. I spent quite a while doing that engine swap and making sure everything was perfect. Other than that, I've had 2 E46s, an E36 and the E21 that's behind me. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about things that I've learned throughout working on cars, not just working on cars, but also throughout the community. And mainly when I talk about the community, I'm going to be talking about the 4-wheel drive community. Now, the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is everything always takes longer than what you expect. I don't care if you think you're going to get it done in a week, you're probably going to get it done in 2, 3, or maybe even 4. This mainly applies to engine swaps or deep mechanical work that you've never really done before. Anything that you've never done is always going to take a considerable amount of time. And even when you have done a job before and you do it again, generally it takes, you can't assume you're necessarily going to get quicker because things change, especially with 4-wheel drives, things rust. And something that you've done before, you know, you might have done a few beast trips and then boom, it's rusted and you're going to have a hard time getting it done. And it's just going to take a half an hour job, it's going to take a 2-hour job. Through my experience, whenever I've done an engine swap or a big job that I haven't done before and repeated it lots of times, I always find that there's always a massive amount of work after that needs to be done. An example is bad grounds, for example. I was chasing why my temperature gauge was going so high for so long. Every time I turn left in the E30, the exhaust manifold hits on the steering linkage. And there's just a whole number of different stuff that adds up. Number 2 is revolving around both street cars and 4-wheel drives, but mainly towards 4-wheel drives, and that is because I know how to fix pretty much everything. I've got no mechanical sympathy whatsoever, and so when I'd go 4-wheel driving, or I would not be scared of breaking it, because if I broke it, then like it's not a massive problem, I can still fix it. And like it was almost fun, the thought of breaking something, because then it just doesn't really make sense. Number 3 is that it will cost you lots of money, and depending on what type of car and what type of build you're doing, you're not going to get it back most of the time. See, the thing is with the Patrol, and I never intended on selling it, and that was, you know, that was okay, because I was okay with spending the amount of money that I spent, because I was like, you know what, I'm never going to sell this car. And it was the same with the E30. I was like, it doesn't matter, I can spend as much as I want because I'm not going to sell the car, so it doesn't really matter. Cars like the E21, for example, I bought as an investment to fix and resell. Funnily enough, things always change. I will be selling the Patrol and the E30, and I'm going to lose quite a lot of money. Also with, I don't know how much money I would have put into the Patrol. It would have been a decent amount of money, and I'm definitely not going to get it back. So I'm probably going to estimate that I have lost probably about 15 grand, I reckon. I think that if I was to sell my car through peak COVID, like 2021, 2022, where the car market was going crazy, I think it would have been not so bad. But like even now, as of last week, I was checking the prices and they're back to 2019 prices pretty much. I bought this back in 2019 for 19 grand, immaculate condition, 180,000 Ks. And yeah, I haven't really been keeping up with it lately. Went and had a look, and everything's like the ZD30 Patrols are back down to like 2019 pricing. Number 4 is the reason why I'm actually getting out of the car scene and working on cars. At this stage of my life, when I've just graduated uni and I've got heaps of stuff that I'm very motivated to do and get my cash flows up and start my sort of business venture, I guess you could say, the last thing I want to have is 3 shit boxes sitting around and like just money sitting there. So that is the main reason why I'm getting out of it. I can't afford to be spending time and money on things that I don't want to be putting energy towards. Cars will always be something that I'll enjoy, but moving forward, in the future, I will only be investing in cars that are going to provide like great returns. I never regret the E21. That was a great purchase. I'm going to make a really good Really good margin on that one. But relying on a daily driver like my Patrol, which has been off the road for 6 months now, is not a great way to do it. So moving forward, the cars that I will be buying in the future will be investments only, and my dailies are going to be kept as a daily, and I'm not going to be getting stuck into the rabbit hole of destroying my cars like I have in the past. Number 5 is that depending on what type of community you're in, whether it be like the street car community or the four-wheel drive community, there's always going to be a level of hate. And that's what I found throughout the four-wheel drive community. It is one of the most toxic communities to be in. I've met so many good people, and I've also met a lot of like average people. But on average, like the whole community, once you get involved in like the Instagram side, the Facebook and YouTube, there is hate everywhere, absolutely everywhere. From my experience, I used to get hate all the time for owning a ZD30. I would never hate on anyone else's stuff because like I genuinely would appreciate other people's work, and you know, I understand that not what someone has is a representation of what they've worked hard for and what they own, and generally it's someone's pride and joy. So to go and tell someone else that their pride and joy is a piece of shit is like, it's just not up to me, or it's just not something that you would do. That's a massive thing that happened a lot in that community. There was just always hate. There are always people who are putting others down. I think it's a really good representation of that, of a large part of that community is these are people who are insecure and are people who have nothing better to do in their life other than hate on other people. You become who you hang around, and if you're constantly revolved around a community that is so negative, then it does take its toll, and it's not a great place to be around. I feel like at the moment the car community is a place that's full of so many people who are just trying to flex, and people actually in the four-wheel drive community, a lot of the time they're not actually interested in other people. They're all for themselves to try and look the toughest or whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, I really didn't judge that much. It's definitely not a nice place to be around, and not a nice environment to be hanging around 24/7. No matter how positive you are as a person, if you're going to be surrounded by negative people, you're not going to be able to help it, but you're subconsciously going to be brought down. If you have made it to the end of the video, guys, give it a like and a comment. I'd be pretty interested to know what you think. I know that a large part of my following is from people that I have met along the way in the car community, and there's people who are involved in this right now who understand what this community is like. If you agree, you know, let me know. If you disagree, also let me know. But they are the 5 things that I have learned from working on cars over the last 5 years, and also being involved in the car community, and that's my general takeaway from it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.